Because I think I can see Kevin dropping Wonder Boy. We know Wonder Boy can recover. We all know that, man. I can see him jumping on some kind of choke and getting Wonder Boy out of there.
Okay, in the main event, we have Stephen Wonderboy Thompson versus Kevin Trailblazer Holland. I was going back looking at an interview from Stephen, and he said that basically he wanted to get matched up against a striker. So it was going to be down to Michelle Pareja or Kevin Holland. And the Michelle fight would have been...
Oh, God. They both running from each other.
I know. But Stephen has more cardio, so he probably would have won, especially in the main event.
5 rounds?
Yeah. He gets Kevin Holland, who is considered to be a striker. You know, he was on a 2-fight winning streak, but he ran into Kamzat. He took that fight on short notice. Kind of got ran over fairly quickly there. Not to make no excuses, but to be fair, Kevin's takedown defense did look good up until the darts. Like, he was able to defend some takedowns. He was able to get out of some takedowns, and Kamzat basically had to keep chaining them together. And it's so wild because Joe Rogan said that Kamzat put everything he had into that darts choke because he didn't plan on letting Kevin get out of the first round. So if that darts choke didn't work and they had 4 more rounds, Kevin would have had a lot of time to work. But luckily for him, Stephen does not fight like that. One thing I'm noticing is a lot of people are saying that since Kevin took that fight on short notice against Kamzat, the UFC is kind of doing him a favor by putting him up against a striker. He's supposed to win this fight. Let's just be clear about that.
Yeah.
But I went back and I was looking at Wonder Boy's last few fights. Man, that Gilbert Burns fight was real close. He basically had to go for a I gotta win this fight takedown just because a whole lot of nothing happened in that fight. Stephen had to be worried about Gilbert's punching power. So he couldn't go crazy. He had to be careful. But man, Stephen was confusing Gilbert too. Gilbert couldn't do a whole lot of nothing. Gilbert, it was not the same Gilbert we normally see. But that was because of Stephen.
But then Gilbert just come off a knockout loss to Usman too, right? So he was a little bit hesitant too.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean,
but so we can't really just look at these losses, man. And then Bilal was wrestling, but Kevin ain't no wrestler like that. Neither one of these guys want to wrestle, and they're gonna be standing up. So now I go back to Stephen's last 2 wins against Jeff Neal and Vicente. 2 different strikers, 2 different style of strikers, and he made both of them look bad. Well, after the first round, he made Vicente look bad, but he made both of them look bad, and he made it look like they didn't need to be in there with him. And Jeff Neal couldn't get anything going. And Jeff is a little bit more calculated of a striker than Kevin. Kevin does have, I don't want to say he has more power.
He does.
But he's a little bit more over, you think he has more power?
Yeah, with one shot, like he did Joaquin. He sat Joaquin Buckley down with 1 shot.
Okay.
So, I mean, yeah.
No, that's fair. My next point is Kevin is a little bit more unpredictable, and that helps him because that Jacare fight, who has ever seen nothing like that before? For somebody to be on their back and to swing and then knock somebody out and stand up and then punch them out. I've never seen nothing like that before.
Yeah, but Wonder Boy more unpredictable with his striking. Is he gonna be able to frustrate Kevin Holland on the feet?
I don't necessarily think he's a little bit more unpredictable because we've seen it so many times, but his style is effective and it's good enough to where he might frustrate Kevin.
I mean, Wonder Boy he's extremely unpredictable, like with the kicks and the head kicks. It's funny, when I watched the fight with Wonder Boy and Gilbert Burns live, I'm a big Gilbert fan. And one thing that worried me was when Wonder Boy fought against Jay Ellenberger, he knocked him out with the spinning wheel kick. So whenever he fought Gilbert, I was worried about it, and he threw it a couple times and landed it, but I was like, man, the fight could have been over. But at the same time, Kevin is 6'3". He's reached 8. In my opinion, the deciding factor is the reach of Kevin Holland.
Stephen Wonder
80-inch reach.
Stephen knocked out Johnny Hendricks.
You remember, dude, he kept on throwing the head kick, and Johnny couldn't take him down, and Johnny couldn't land nothing. Obviously, just think about this. What Johnny with small reach.
I think that was short USADA too.
Not only that, but your reach is short, you're short. What was Johnny going to do?
No, pre-USADA, there was a lot he could do. Post-USADA, what happened.
But the way to beat Wonder Boy is to get the fight to the ground, man.
Yeah, but it was going to be on the ground if it was pre-USADA. Definitely, it was going to be on the ground, but Stephen was going to be on his back. But if we look at these losses, man, which one of these fighters closely resembles Kevin?
The Pettis, man.
Because the Darren Till fight, let's just be clear, Darren Till definitely lost that fight.
Oh, yeah, he lost, man. It was close. Yeah. It was close, man, but it looked like Darren only won the 5th round when he knocked him down.
He fought him in his home country, so that was a W for that reason. But then he lost to a lightweight who is not really like a one-punch knockout artist. That ain't how Anthony fight, but he was able to catch Stephen. So he only has 1 knockout lost. But obviously Kevin has way more power. But Anthony did go through a lot to get that knockout. Remember, Stephen was kind of piecing him up bad.
Yeah.
And I think he broke Anthony's nose and everything.
Yeah.
Anthony was bloodied up and he was beat down. And then he just happened to do that.
And he was walking forward uncharacteristically of Wonderboy was walking forward and got caught with the Superman punch.
Yeah.
So I think he don't really do that a lot in his career, man. Against Kevin Holland, I don't think he'll do that.
So what do you think Kevin's game plan is going to be? Because
make it a boxing match, man. He got some great boxing, in my opinion. Some great MMA boxing.
But is he going to just be able to catch Stephen with just pure hands?
When you reach 80, this is another thing I was going to say, man. Because Kevin, he might be the tallest person Wonderboy ever fought. Because Wonderboy is 6 foot. Kevin is 6'3". What is Wonderboy's reach? His reach is like, what, 75? Kevin Holland's reach 80. So he's fighting as a bigger...
No, Kevin's reach is 81.
Oh,
Stephen's reach is 75.
Yes, yeah. So it's like that's 6 inches reach advantage.
So let me see the people he beat. Let me see what their reach was. 75 for Jeff, and then for Vicente,
75 too, right?
76. And let's just go back and look at Jorge just because
74.
74. So average. And let's see the people who beat him, he wrestled them.
They all wrestled him, except Woodley. But Woodley could put together a game plan. I don't think Kevin is going to be overthinking like that, man.
And you know, one thing that concerned me, man, I was watching the Kevin interviews and they was asking him, you know, if you beat Stephen, what does this do for you? And he basically said something to the effect of, he's not really thinking ahead. He's just thinking about this fight. And
he retired before this fight too also. So, I mean,
I think that was like an emotional thing, but just because of how the Kamzat fight happened. But we can't pretend like Stephen ain't 40. And Stephen also he been in the top 10 for a long time, but he's been declining in the rankings for a long time too. So it's kind of interesting for where both of their heads are going to be. Are we going to get the best version of either of these guys? Because one knock on Kevin Holland is sometimes it seems like he don't take the fight serious, because he was on a win streak, a crazy win streak a while ago.
It's not, but look, he fought against big, strong wrestlers. Look.
And he took a few of these fights on short notice. I think the Derek Brunson and Marvin fight was on short notice. But some of these wins were on short notice too, I believe. So it just gets to a point where it's like, man, do you want to fight for the title or do you just want to be there? Because you got the talent, and Kevin Holland taking fights seriously should easily have beat. He should have been able to keep that fight on the feet with Marvin, and obviously he had the better stand-up. He should have been able to keep that fight on the feet with Derek Brunson. Obviously he has the better stand-up.
The only thing is Wonderboy can't beat none of them guys either.
Well, I know, but we talking about Kevin's mentality. I'm just saying, sometimes he show up, and then sometimes it's like
he play around
a little bit too playing around too much, and you kind of want to see a fighter take it serious at some point, like do the Charles Oliveira, where it's like, hey, I had my losses, I learned, I'm here for something more serious and more long-term now. I would like to see that. I was watching the interview with the Smo, and he was just kind of trying to see where Kevin's head was, and his head was more, maybe he just focused, man, because of the last fight. Maybe he just focused on Stephen, and he not really overly looking ahead. Maybe he was looking ahead, and it cost him a few times. Only he would know that. But even when Ariel Helwani was talking to him, he just kind of seemed kind of playful, but not in a bad way. Like, you want to see people having fun, but you also want to see people being intentful. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, Islam has been very intentful. When Charles got serious, he was very intentful. Who else? Just certain people. Glover, when he dialed it in, he got very intentful. I just would like to see that from Kevin, because the skill is there, the talent is there, but the mindset needs to be like, I can be a champion, I want to be a champion. But do you even want to, or are you just saying you just like to fight? Well, there's nothing wrong with that. Maybe you just want to fight.
But one thing that I noticed, I agree with what you're saying. One thing I noticed is when Kevin Holland fought against Joaquin Buckley, he kept on, let's touch gloves. And it's like, bruh, before the first round, Joaquin said, I'm not touching gloves with you. And then they start touching gloves after the second round and each round after that. But it was weird how you kept on trying to touch his glove. What are you doing, man? Like, is it a mental thing there where it's kind of like, I just want to relax and maybe just like, you know, it's like, what's going on? Why you gotta like touch gloves and stuff all the time, man? Just go out there and knock this person out. You know,
and then sometimes, I hate to say it, but losing very winnable fights. Man, we see him lose fights to where the other guy at the end of the fight looking like they on death row, and Kevin Holland is walking around with a bunch of energy, so much more to do, so much more to give.
Like who? What are you talking about?
Man, when he fought Derek Brunson, he wasn't tired. When he lost to Marvin Vettori, he wasn't tired. And they took all their energy trying to hold him down. They was like breathing, gasping for air, trying to barely making it in the post-fight interview. And here Kevin is walking around laughing, joking. And I'm like, bro, you got all that energy left. Bro, you should have won. Let's not pretend like we don't know how Derek Brunson Bronson get when he get tired. Come on, man. We know how Derek get when he get tired. We know how Marvin.
I think the real question is who has Wonderboy fought against that can submit him? Because I think I can see Kevin dropping Wonderboy, and we know Wonderboy can recover. We all know that, man. I can see him jumping on some kind of choke and getting Wonderboy out of there. Because that's the thing. Like even Tyron don't have the submissions that Kevin has.
He hurt him and then he jumped on a guillotine.
Yeah, and Vicente has the submissions. I don't think he has the striking that Kevin has. So I don't think Wonderboy has fought anybody that has the striking and the submissions as Kevin.
But I'm finna say, but Kevin got all the physical tools, but mentally is he? See, that's what I'm saying. Because all of them had the mentality. They might not have had all the tools, but they had the mentality. And yeah, they didn't all. Obviously, Vicente didn't win, but shoot, he looked doggone good in the first round. He gave Stephen some problems.
I see what you're saying, but I'm saying even when Kevin was playing the games with Joaquin Buckley, we see how it ended. I think the issue with Kevin Holland is wrestlers.
Well, we can't compare Joaquin Buckley movement to Stephen Wonderboy. The hitability, we can't.
I'm not comparing it. I'm just saying the fact that he was playing mind games and that's touch gloves and he still went there and got the knockout.
Who else low key plays mind games? Because this Mr. Nice Guy thing, which I think he is a nice guy, but Stephen does that thing where it's like, hey man, let's just have a good time, and I'm just out there.
Yeah, but the thing is, Kevin got the power, man.
But I'm saying Stephen is low key like real slick with that junk too, and he could be also playing out there laughing and giggling, then he spin around and kick you, and your head go flying back to Mars.
And then another thing is Kevin low key durable, man, because Joaquin was landing all kind of punches to the body. He actually landed a couple punches to the chin of Kevin, and it's like, bro, if Joaquin can't knock Kevin out, Wonderboy can't.
Hey, who was Stephen training with for this fight? He was some wrestler.
Wrestler.
I think. Hold on, dude. He training with GSP. Listen.
Yeah, but GSP ain't gonna be in there to fight for him though. You know, you still got. We see people train with John Jones and stuff. They still go out there and they go 0-3 in the UFC.
Yeah, that's true, but it's not a coincidence that now all of a sudden Stephen decides I'm gonna go spend some of my camp and train with GSP, man.
Yeah, they trained together years ago, right?
No, this is recent.
I was talking about him and GSP trained together years ago. You remember? Cause I think Wonderboy he used to train with, cause he fought Rory back in the day. It was weird because they all trained together at one point. You remember when Wonderboy fought against Rory McDonald? So I guess I think you kind of reaching with that one, man, because that doesn't really mean nothing. I think this is Wonderboy's last fight in the UFC, especially if he gets finished, because you got to look at his age.
No, but I'm gonna tell you something though. When you look at his record, look at how he lost. He didn't get knocked out with these losses. You got to realize the Gilbert Burns fight was very close, and Gilbert had to get that takedown in the third round, or he might have lost that fight. So that was a very close fight that Gilbert barely scraped by. You know, I love Gilbert. He one of my favorite fighters, but I was screaming for him to get that takedown because I knew that decision was up in the air. And Gilbert didn't get no offense on the feet. He didn't get nothing done on the feet. And then Bilal, come on, man. Bilal just been mixing it up with the striking and the wrestling. Look at what he's doing. He knocked out Sean Brady. So should Sean Brady retire? You know what I'm saying? No, obviously. Dude, when you look at Stephen's losses.
Sean he's younger. He was undefeated. He has one loss. You can't compare it to Wonderboy. He's older.
But I'm saying, but look at how he's losing. He's losing wrestling heavy fights. This not Chuck Liddell getting knocked out 2 or 3 times in a row. There's a difference. You see?
But this is what I'm saying. If he loses, let's just say if he do lose this fight against Kevin Holland,
there's plenty of other fights.
Let's just say, but I'm saying, dude, when does a fighter retire?
He's not getting knocked out though. That's the difference, dude. They could just match him up against somebody who don't have wrestling.
Yeah, say that, bro. Then these fighters rack up 4, 5, 6 losses in a row, man.
But he's not getting knocked.
Listen, it don't matter 4 and 5. Even Sam, I want to really get knocked out. And then you still got 8, 9 losses.
But Sam is losing to people who are barely UFC caliber fighters. And Sam arguably was never.
I think honestly, we might have to disagree, but I just think fighters who he fought for the belt, man. Like Wonderboy, he one of the greatest welterweights of all time. So I'm saying, like, there's not a bad thing. Like, there's not an issue with you leaving the game.
But, dude, really look at his losses. Okay, he definitely lost to both Tyron fights. I'm not making no excuse for that. He did not lose the Darren Till fight. I don't have no excuse for the Anthony Pettis fight. I can't make no excuse for that one.
Yeah.
But the Gilbert and Bilal was wrestling heavy. Like, they really had to hold him down and just say, I got to hold you down enough to get into the scorecards to where I can basically wrestle my way to a decision. Let's just call it what it is. That was because Stephen is dangerous.
So you saying if he lose to Kevin Holland, he still has...
It depends on how he lose.
That's what I'm saying. But I'm saying if Kevin knock him out, that's what I've been saying.
But Stephen got a chance of maybe doing it to him too.
No, but I'm saying my prediction is Kevin gonna finish him with a submission.
Now that's...
So I'm saying if Kevin go out there and finish Wonderboy...
But that's another
And then not only that, but it's not like... This is not Wonderboy Boy, say if we were talking about Wonder Boy from 4 years ago who lost 2 in a row or 3 in a row, and he still think he could be champion. Wonder Boy, after his last 2 losses, he was looking like, do I really want to fight? A lot of people thought he had retired after his last fight.
How many times do we see fighters go in there and get wrestled, and it just, we've seen Rampage do it. We've seen some of your favorite fighters you bring up, and how as soon as the fight hit the ground, it was like, here we go with this. You bring these fighters up all the time. Anthony Johnson, you bring up so many different fighters to where it's like, we know that person got a lot of fight in them, basically, you know. Yeah. But when you're so dangerous in a particular area and people gotta beat you a certain type of way, even Anthony Pettis, people wouldn't stand up with him. They just take him to the ground. If I gotta hold you there, if I gotta just do whatever just to make sure we're not on the feet, I'll do that. But that ain't how Kevin fight. Ultimately, I do want Kevin to win, and I do think he will win. I think this is a gift fight from the UFC for him taking a bunch of short notice fights. Kevin got a lot of losses on his record that don't need to be there when he was chilling at home a week prior, and he lost those fights because of wrestling. I think Kevin gonna win, but I don't want a narrative of Stephen kind of sucking, because he really don't. I do agree with you. Kevin is definitely gonna win.
To see fighters get 3, 4 losses in a row, 5 losses in a row, man.
But this was the thing. Look at how many people you can match Stephen up with to where he can get back on track with a W. That's why I'm not overly concerned. 74, the number 74 greatest MMA grappler of all time. This can't be real, man. Tapology losing credibility because they had Frankie Edgar as one of the top strikers of all time last week or 2 weeks ago, and I'm sorry, bro.
Number 82, right? Number 82 best striker of all time.
He might not even be in the 800 because there are some people who only have strike. You can throw Brad Riddell up there before you throw him up there. Like, but man, for them to say this is crazy. Did people vote on this, or like how?
That's interesting.
How did they come to this conclusion? Because in fact, didn't I just say that he just lost a lot of his losses were because of grappling heavy fighters, even strikers?
Let me ask you this though. Let me ask you this, man. Like, if I don't know Wonder Boy situation, but say he has other avenues to make money outside of fight. Say if you go out there and lose to Kevin Holland, would this be a good time to leave the game when you have other ways to make money? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, because now when you look at the YouTube, maybe TV shows, maybe movies, but you got to lose a decision. You can't be getting knocked out and leaving. But even if Stephen loses to Kevin Holland, you got to realize,
Sean Brady, man.
You got to realize, oh man, because
that'd actually be a good one.
No, it wouldn't, because Sean got one way to win. No, but Sean Brady knows keep breaking, right?
Also, if Wonder Boy can avoid a takedown, if he can piece him up, bro,
that's a winnable fight. Neil Magny, you never know
talking about that.
You never know what you're gonna get.
Well, he already beat Neil, so I mean,
he did.
Yeah.
Oh well, so and then Jorge Masvidal, he already beat him. Michelle Pareja.
I don't want to see that.
But in a 5-round fight, Michelle ain't got no 5-round cardio, so that's a very winnable fight for. I'm saying even Randy Brown. These are very winnable fights for Stephen. Stephen can literally beat any of these other guys more than likely.
Mike, yes. No, I'm just playing.
Now, again, Michael, you never know what you're going to get. A lot of these guys, bro, they wouldn't lay a single hand on Steph. Max Griffin coming off a win. They'll use him and then say, hey, go in there and fight him. And Stephen will go in there and run around him. That's what you're saying, dude,
because Jake not supposed to be in the top 18, man.
Dude, Muslim, come on, man.
Wonder Boy can destroy any of them guys, man.
And I hate to say it, but you got Nico Price on this card. Who is Nico fighting?
He's fighting somebody.
Look at other welterweights on this card. Let's say he lose and Brian lose. He might be able to beat Brian. But Brian is a dangerous fighter. Low-key, Brian got a lot of knockout power. Look, Phillip Rowe. You think they won't match him up against Phillip Rowe to get him back on track? Or Nico, even if Nico Price wins, Stephen is still higher ranked than him, and Stephen can win that fight.
It depends. So if Wonder Boy gets finished, and if they win by knockout.
Oh, man.
Especially Phillip Rowe, man.
Definitely don't do that. Definitely don't do that. Ultimately, I'm going with Kevin, but I think Stephen is smart enough to know he's calling it a striker versus striker fight, but let's call it what it is. They're giving Kevin somebody who ain't going to wrestle him. At least they don't think he's going to wrestle. But Stephen might come in with a different type of game plan. I just don't know if he's going to be able to pull it off on Kevin. Kevin should win. And
Wonder Boy, I agree with what you're saying, but Wonder Boy normally fights one way every fight, man. It don't matter if he's fighting against a dragon, he still can go out there and fight the same way.
He switched it up on Anthony, and it cost him, though.
Oh, yeah.